Hey everyone, this time on Tim Talks Audio, we go over how to expand your I/O. Your I/O, or the inputs and outputs of your interface, may actually allow you to expand how many ins and outs you have. When working with something like the Presonus 1824C and a number of other interfaces out there, there's the option of ADAT, A-D-A-T. ADAT allows you to expand your inputs and outputs of your interface, and therefore Studio One, so you can track your whole band practice or put more gear in your studio that you don't have to cross-patch between. You can have more outputs to feed the outboard gear and more inputs to bring it back in. This isn't going to work for everyone because if you're using just one of the small interfaces, you might not have ADAT ins and outs. Today, we're going to be using the 1824C, which does, and if your interface has this as well, you can also follow along and expand your inputs and outputs. Aside from your interface, you're also going to need another set of mic pre's that has ADAT ins and outs. I'm going to be using the Behringer ADA 8200. Also, with these two units, you need the ADAT or Toslink or optical cables in order to get the ins and outs. And I just went with the Amazon basics. You'll find a link to these in the description below. So let's switch over and we'll take a look at how to make these physical connections. Okay, so here we are. On top, we have the Presonus 1824C, and underneath that is the Behringer ADA 8200. Keep in mind that both of these units already have 8 mic and line inputs on them. What we're going to be doing is expanding up to 16 ins and outs. So when we're doing this, we're going to need 2 cables, one for the in and one for the out. When you get your brand new cables, it may have this little rubber gasket on the end, and you can just peel that off. This is to protect the fiber optic cable that's going in the middle. From here, things are pretty easy. We're going to go out of the ADA 8200 into the 1824C and vice versa, out of the Presonus into the Behringer. You'll know you've made a good connection when you can see the light. And that's it. I've already doubled my inputs and outputs. There's a few things to take note of, though, when you're doing an expansion like this. One is now we're in the world of digital clocking. You need these 2 units to be able to talk to one another and know the sample rates and lock them at the same time. If you don't have them locked, you're gonna have clicks and pops and this jitter sound, and it really doesn't sound good. An easy way to do it, like on the ADA 8200, is there's a little toggle switch on the back. This allows you to set the master clock, whether it being the Behringer unit or the Presonus unit. The way we have it right now is it's locked to the Presonus. So now in my session, if I say I want 44.1 or 48, the Behringer will follow right along and clock exactly the same sample at exactly the same time. Hey guys, as I was editing this, I remembered something that I didn't say in the original video. When we're working with ADAT and sample rates, we can get the 8 ins and outs if we're working in 44.1 or 48K. Once you start doubling your sample rates, you lose half your bandwidth. So if you go to 88.2 or 96K, you're only going to get 4 ins and outs. If you double again, you only get 2. This is something to keep in mind. Okay, back to the video. Now, let's confirm that we have everything going. I'm looking at the Behringer and I know that my clock is synced. Now, I want to take a look at Universal Control and make sure I'm actually getting this I/O. So let's go ahead and open up Universal Control. On the left over here is my microphone talking to you guys right now. And then after the SPDIF channel will be your ADAT channels. If you don't see this already, just go to the cogwheel on top and hit this button, Show ADAT. Then what you can do is grab a microphone or a guitar input or something else to go into the next bank of inputs and make sure you're getting signal. I have an extra microphone sitting over here. It's a condenser mic. So on the Behringer unit, I'm gonna turn on phantom power. Now that I have phantom power on, I'm just gonna grab my gain control and start turning it up while I'm snapping my fingers in front of the new microphone. So there we go. I turned up the gain on the other microphone And I'm getting signal. I'm talking to you now, and I can see my microphone is picking it up, but also the microphone over here is hearing it as well. Now let's switch over to Studio One and confirm our I/O settings. Here we go, we're in Studio One. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the song setup, go to I/O, and you can see I just have 1 and 2. I don't have everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and very quickly build out the I/O, filling all of the available channels, but I am going to skip SPDIF because I'm not using that right now. So there we go. I've filled out everything, and I could go in and name all of these, which I probably should. I have stereo channels followed by 2 mono channels. This way, when I'm going to record, if I need a stereo set, it's already pre-made, and if I need a couple mono inputs, they're in here as well. You're allowed to share your inputs when you're building your I/O. It's when you make your tracks to make sure to pick the right kind of track that you're going to record. So I'm going to hit apply, and there we go. And immediately inside Studio One, we can see input 13, which is the next available ADAT input, picking up signal, and this is the additional microphone. I'm going to scratch it real quick. I know that this is the other microphone, and it's numbered 13 because this is the mono one. You can see half of the stereo channel next to it is also getting the same signal. So there you go. That's how you expand your inputs, and it's the same thing for the output side. I could go ahead and fill in all of the outputs in the same kind of way, depending on my needs. Perhaps I only need stereo outputs. This is a great way to feed different headphone mixers. Or some of your outboard gear. You may need a couple mono output channels and those return channels on your inputs as well, using Pipeline to make all of this seamless inside Studio One. If you haven't seen them already, I do have videos out there going over how to set up your I/O, how to set up headphone amps, and how to use Pipeline. I'll put links in the descriptions, and here's a card of a playlist I put together of those same videos. As I said earlier in the video, this is a great way to expand your I/O to maybe take this to band practice and be able to record everybody. Or you can make a nice little mobile recording rig doing this and recording other people's bands or live shows. What are some other uses that you can think of to expand your I/O in this way? Let me know in the comments below. That's all for now. If you found anything informative, please like and share the video. For more, visit timflensbaum.com, and if you have a question, ask it in the comments and I'll answer it in a future video. Thanks for watching.